Welcome back to another torch review. I have something quite tasty in today. It's the Klarus XT32, brand new model out, and this was sent in via BanTac for a review. And this isn't a messing around review. We're going to cover everything with extensive beam shots at the end. I'm going to test everything with this, including the charger that is with this particular pack. So when you open up the box, very nice presentation and a good bit of padding. You'll see that the torch head is covered with the holster. We have quite a few extras in this particular kit, and I'll just take them all out of the box and we'll go through individually and look at each of them. You can get this torch just on its own without the charger and batteries. This one comes with the charger and batteries, so if you already have that, you might be able to save a bit on the actual cost of it. So I've laid everything out here that is included, and then we're going to go through and have a closer look. Start off with the box, just some of the features. You'll see the batteries included on this pack. 1,000 meter range, they reckon. Tactical torch, look at the candela on that, it's 250,000, so that's a good sign that you've got a real tight hot spot. That's the brightest part of the beam measurement, and this covers some of the features that are included, and there are quite a lot with this particular torch. This has the 3-switch design that Klarus have had on a number of their torches on the XT range. We also have 4 power levels and 2 strobe modes. So you can pause that if you want, have a look through some of the features. I'm going to go through the user interface in depth later on. And this is a closer look now at the torch. You'll be able to see there with the holster already on it, you get a D-ring, plastic D-ring. There's your Velcro fastener. And you also have a section underneath that's sewn in, belt loop. Very good quality on this now. It's the neoprene material, but it's very dense and thick, so that will offer the torch head quite a decent bit of protection. And it's also potentially something which is an advantage over the G35, which I couldn't actually get a holster for that torch, or I never actually found one. Just pull it out. It can be a little bit tight with the tactical ring on, so perhaps over time that will ease up, but you can also take that ring off. So excellent to see that they've included that. And onto the torch, satin finish. I've put the specs on the screen for you. This is a bit lighter than I was expecting. It's definitely lighter than the G35 and some of the other torches that I've looked at. Ace Beam one, Jet Beam one rather, sorry, and that was definitely heavier than this in the hand. And you can see there we have the crenulated bezel, deep heat sinks around the bottom of the head there to dissipate the heat. And there's the deep reflector, anti-reflective coating. We've got the XPL High V3 and a smooth reflector as well. So that's what you're going to get with a long-range torch. As far as the body materials go, nice bit of grip in the middle there, lots of knurling, and a flat switch design. Now that's thread locked the top of the handle, and so is the crenulated bezel, so you can't actually take that off easily. You'll see the tactical ring here. That doesn't lock off though. I somehow prefer it to lock off. I know why they do that is if you put the wrist strap on, it will rotate around. But I'd like if you could screw that in. Small point. And here's the paddle switch next to the main power switch, which has the silicone covering on it. Good bit of action on that, so you need to actually press it. There's no chance of accidental activation with that. Just unscrew the base cap and you'll see the springs and contacts. It's not anodized, but you can half turn that and it will lock it out as well. And these are the 2 cells that are supplied, 2,600 milliamp hours with this particular pack. Inside at the top you'll see that there is a spring as well, so you can also rifle mount this, things like that, so, or if you drop it, it won't damage the batteries. And there's the inner tube section because of the tail cap switch. Just take off the tactical ring if you want to. I generally leave it on there because I find it easier to activate the switches with the tactical ring in place, but that's an option for you. It's definitely easier to get in and out of the holster, but it doesn't really bother me. I'd leave the switch on. Now, this is the K2 charger, and it's actually quite a well featured charger. I did a review on the K1. This is basically the same thing except with 2 slots, and you also have a USB power bank function. There's your micro USB input, and this will list out some of the features on there. You can also charge nickel metal hydride cells and the 2 other voltages with lithium as well. Get the micro USB cable supplied, so as soon as you put the batteries in, it gives you an indication on the charge state, and if you're using it as a power bank. I quite liked the K1. I use that in the car. I keep it in the car as a spare sort of charger that can, multi-format charger that can charge anything, and this is pretty much the same thing except you get that power bank function. So if you want to switch between the 1/2 amp and 1 amp charging, just long press one of the buttons and you can see the charging indicators. There's 4 of them there, and I just put a nickel metal hydride cell in just to show you it will charge that. So you see automatically selects, tells you what it's selecting when you put the cell in. This could be a pretty handy little charger to have around, particularly for other things that you use, and if you put it in the wrong way you've got reverse polarity protection. Now to change between the 3 different lithium voltages, as soon as you put it in, you have a few seconds, you can press there and you'll see I'm cycling through the different lithium voltages. Obviously we want it on 3.7. Nice little charger. Definitely one of the better ones that I've used at that price point as well. You can get that individually on its own. There's the wrist strap and 2 spare O-rings. Now onto the UI, single press on, long press off, and then push to cycle power levels down on the side switch. You do have a mode memory as well. So once you turn it off with the side switch, it will remember the last setting you're on. Long press instant low, then double press for strobe, and then you can cycle through. And once you cancel strobe, it will go back to the last power setting. On to the next one now. We have the lockout on the side switch. Long press and you'll see the flashes come up. About 5 seconds. The LED lights up to tell you you're locked out, and then triple press to unlock. Next we're going to move on to the base switch with the hunting mode. Now the momentary on, with the main button you have the paddle for the low, push and hold for constant low. There's no mode memory on this mode, just the side switch. If you turn it off with the side switch, it's the last one that you've used. Now when on, the paddle cycles up the 4 levels, whereas the side switch cycles down. So that's also another nice tweak to the UI, so you can go up and down the power levels using the paddle and the side switch. I think they've done a nice job on this. I think most people are going to be very happy because it's very flexible. Long press to switch the modes, about 10 seconds, and then just press the paddle and you'll see it flash. Then you've switched over to the next mode, which is the tactical mode. So the paddle is now the momentary strobe. You can hold it in for a few seconds to lock the strobe, and you can strobe from on and off. The main switch is the momentary turbo. So you have 3 power levels on the paddle and it cycles down in that mode, but you still have access to the 4 power levels via the side switch. It sounds more complicated than it is. It's just very flexible. I think they've pretty much nailed it with the UI, and also with the head design. It's a defensive weapon. If you run into a couple of salty dudes late at night, could work quite well for that. Now because of the size, this isn't going to tail stand, but if you put it head down, you'll be able to see obviously when you've left it on. Perhaps would have gone for a stainless steel bezel on the crenulated part, but that's just a small point to make. Doesn't really have a major impact on the torch. And this is a quick look at the user manual. So what I've done is scanned it in to be able to see it more clearly, and this covers everything that I've gone through, including the UI, in case I've made any mistakes or missed anything. Hopefully I haven't. So if you want to pause that, have a little look through there. It will give you a detailed explanation on the modes and the operation. You have the 4-stage battery LED indicator, which is quite well known for Klarus now, and I like it. It's very useful. And a termination test using the K2, 4.18 volts, and around about 4.18, 4.17 on the other cell. So no issues with the charger, good charging, and no problems with water testing as well, water resistance. I'm starting with the G35 now to give you a comparison, because this is a popular model. It's also a bit more powerful than the XT32, so you can see that intense beam in the middle, but look at the spread as well. You get quite a bit of spread at the top power setting. And when we move over to the XT32, you'll notice that you have a tighter beam in the middle. The hotspot is smaller and probably a little bit brighter, but you don't get as much flood or spill when you ramp up the power settings. So that's probably why they've got the same range or distance with these particular torches. So it's really down to your own personal preference on that. So we'll run with the beam shots now and come back with a few thoughts at the end. I took quite a few still shots with the beam shots just to give you a better idea of the performance of the torch. It's certainly got a nice long range. If it reaches 1,000 meters, I don't know, it might do, but it's certainly punching a long distance into the darkness. This just slices through the darkness like a hot knife, very similar to the G35. I really couldn't put much difference apart from that difference in beam pattern. The G35 has a bit more power, but this has a tighter beam, so with that in mind they've got a pretty similar range in terms of using both of them quite a bit. So pros and cons with this: I would like to see Klarus move to a 5-stage power level, also possibly a stainless steel bezel on the crenulated section. That would be nice, and if they added a few more grooves to the head, that would give it better anti-roll. It is anti-roll with the tactical ring on, but without that it does roll about a little bit, although it can sometimes stop. So it's just a small points really. Very fun torch to use. You go out, use this, people think you've got a C or a D cell mag light, and then you start slicing into huge distances. They know that this isn't a walking the dog type of torch. So this is quite a practical torch really if you do things like security. Maybe you're on a farm or a ranch, you need to see big distances. This will certainly do a nice job, and that triple switch design is a winner, it has to be said. It's probably one of the best designs that I've seen on a torch. Very flexible UI, you have all the controls you need, easy and at hand. So overall excellent torch. Between this and the G35 tricky, this can be holstered. Haven't seen a holster for the G35, so whether that's a factor or not, this might be the better torch to carry with you, but they're both excellent torches in their own right. So thanks for watching the video. As always, please subscribe if you found this useful. If you've got any questions or any comments on this. Let me know what you think of this particular model, and I'll see you in the next one.